Hi everybody, my name is ButterNuts and welcome to Peanut Butter Jelly Time.
Oh, I think I'm about to bust a nut. I'm about to bust a nut. Ah! Ah! Ah!
Speaking of busting a nut, before we start this, like mini-cast or whatever, I have something to tell you guys.
Minicast.
So, I was, a few years ago when I wanted to buy Bayonetta, right?
Yeah.
What I did was, I didn't know anything about the game.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I didn't even know if it was like some sort of platformer or I didn't know anything.
Okay.
I just heard it was good.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, you know what? Let me look up. I just looked up Bayonetta walkthrough part 1.
Mm-hmm.
I found one where the thumbnail was just Bayonetta's ass.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, all right, I'll click it. And I clicked it. And the first comment I see is this like black guy, and I know he's a black guy because the profile picture was some black guy, and he said, "I came for the ass, to be honest."
Jesus
then
Christ.
there was a reply to that comment of some guy named ButterNuts saying, and I'm not gonna censor it because you guys.
No, don't censor it.
I'm not
No,
gonna
censor it.
I'm not gonna censor it.
Censor it.
Oh, he said the N-word is what he said. So this guy replied to this comment saying, "Typical n." And
Jesus Christ.
and
Fucking
this
racist.
guy replied to that guy's name, by the way, was ButterNut.
The guy
Then
who said the N-word.
yeah, then someone named Dark Soldier replied to him saying, "Typical racist." And the guy's like, "What?" The ButterNut said, "What? All they want to do is fuck." And,
no, they don't.
And Dark Soldier said, "What about you? What about your name? ButterNut, what does that mean?"
ButterNut.
And ButterNut replied saying, "It means emptying my nuts."
Mariachi, man.
Why? So Dark Soldier told him, "Don't you think there's a little bit of hypocrisy on that?" And ButterNut told him, "What about your name? Dark Soldier. Dark as in..."
Oh, Jesus Christ. This guy's a fucking racist.
It means emptying my nuts.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Oh, God.
Oh, God. Oh, God. Oh, God.
It was the most racist, and well, not the most racist, but one of the funniest comment strings or whatever I've ever seen in my life.
I'm gonna empty my nuts.
This entire time, the original guy who commented, "I just came for the ass," I don't even think he replied.
Yeah, he didn't even care. He was like, "I'm out of here. I'm not even black. I have a black profile picture."
Yeah, he didn't fucking care. Probably some Asian dude with the black profile picture. Oh man, sorry, it's because you said "bust a nut," and it made me think of that. But that's not.
Jesus Christ!
That's not what I wanted to talk about.
Well,
what I wanted to talk about real quick is something I'm pretty sure Ralph has no idea what I'm about to talk to him about, but I have no. Okay, I have like zero clue as to what's going on because I'm not a part of this particular form of entertainment. But basically, and I feel like the best way to explain, there's been a bunch of people explaining what's been going on to where even I can understand what's going on.
Uh-huh.
But I feel like the best way to explain it is for someone like you who is a fan, explain it to somebody like me who doesn't really watch it at all.
Okay.
And that's what's been going on with, it happened a few months ago with Conor McGregor.
Okay.
With Conor McGregor, that he supposedly retired or whatever.
Okay.
So I can already see the smirk on your face. I'm just gonna let you.
So what do you want to know? First of all, do you know who Conor McGregor is?
Yeah, it's a UFC fighter. Right?
Conor McGregor is a UFC fighter who comes from Ireland.
Okay.
And when he came in the game, he came in with a big mouth. But what made him different from all the rest, he would talk trash about his opponents. But it wasn't just vulgar language. He would use, he would paint a picture, and he would say that he would cut his opponent's head off, and he would cherry it. Or he would parade it around the city where they're from. If this was back in the day, and he would say all these crazy stuff, basically talking shit to another level. So he was way different from all the fighters from that. He would talk shit to anyone, even fighters that are not in his weight class. And what made him, significant is that he backed it up. The fights that he fought, he would fight and he would beat the shit out of the other guy.
Really?
Yep.
Did he ever fight anybody out of his weight class, or can he not do that?
Yes, you can fight anyone out of your weight class, and as a matter of fact, he has balls for doing it. He just fought someone out of his weight class called Nate Diaz. So there was a hype train behind Conor McGregor, which I don't see as a hype train. I think he's a great fighter, and he talks a bunch of shit. It's entertaining to see him. A lot of you might think he's not humble, he's not respectful or anything. Well, you're wrong, because he is. After the fight, he would congratulate his opponent, and he would be respectful. He wouldn't talk shit after the fight in various occasions. So he kept going up and up and up until he got the belt. He beat the best of the best. Is a fighter called Jose Aldo. And Jose Aldo has been the only featherweight champion in 10 years. And he's never lost.
And
in 10 years.
Exactly what does featherweight mean?
Featherweight is a weight class where it's, I don't know the exact weight, but it's light. That's why it's called, I believe.
Oh, it's like really light?
I believe it's featherweight. I don't know. I'm not sure if it is featherweight or if it's flyweight. Because there's different weight classes now. In UFC. So for example, Conor McGregor would be a featherweight. He is a featherweight.
Okay.
And he has the belt he won the belt for the featherweight. He obtained the featherweight title by beating this guy who is a complete dominant champ. And he knocked him out in 13 seconds.
13
it was the most, yes, 13 seconds. All it took was one punch. Well, it took several. Not several, but as in one punch, and then the one's going down and hit him while he was down. In 13 seconds, he was able to beat the 10-year champion, Jose Aldo. And they did a complete press conference tour, where he would just talk mad shit about Jose Aldo. Not only in Ireland did he talk shit. He talked shit in all the places they went, even in Brazil, which is where Jose Aldo comes from. Yeah. And in one of the press tours, he even snatched Jose Aldo's belt from him. And started, he took the belt from him when it was his, and he started, raising his hand and everything. He would do things that no one else would want to do. So he has crazy confidence, crazy belief in himself. He's able to get into his opponents by talking so much shit, and going in there and and knowing what to do, I guess, when it comes to those fights.
And then basically, like I said, it happened a few months ago, at least a month or two ago, that supposedly he's retiring, and I heard by some other news outlet on YouTube, or I think Philip DeFranco or whatever, that what it was is that he wanted to keep training and not do so much press or something like that.
Yeah, well, after he won the belt, before he joined the UFC, he was in a fighting organization. He was already fighting, and he had belts for both the featherweight. He had both the featherweight title and the lightweight title, and he wanted to do the same here. So he decided that he would fight above his weight class with a man called Rafael dos Anjos for the lightweight belt. So he was going to fight, and he even dressed up as El Chapo. He dressed up as El Chapo with the same shirt. You see that Chapo photo with Sean Penn?
Yeah.
He dressed up exactly, and he did the same thing.
Really?
Well, in his face-off against Rafael dos Anjos. But what happened, Rafael dos Anjos got a foot injury. So replacing him was a fighter who called out Conor McGregor before that, which is also a talented fighter who actually talks shit with vulgar language, which is called Nate Diaz. Nate Diaz is known for his not giving a fuck attitude, and he also smokes pot out of which he can out of the UFC when he's not in there. So he's this pothead who's a vegan and talks a lot of shit and is good at fighting. He puts his hands down when he fights, and he gets hit and he still hits back. He's a crazy dude. So he fought Conor McGregor. So Conor McGregor, now he keeps the old belt, but he's fighting for the lightweight belt. And when he fought Nate Diaz, what happened is his first loss ever. So when we went against Nate Diaz, he started lighting him up, and Conor McGregor's power is very strong, but at that lightweight class, Nate Diaz is 6 feet. He's very tall. Conor McGregor isn't that tall, and the bigger the man, the harder it is to knock him out. So Conor McGregor gassed out. He hit him so many times, and he was looking good until he got tired, and he got desperate. And I think he got desperate and he shot for a double leg takedown.
Mhm.
And Nate Diaz, being a jiu-jitsu expert, got him in a choke, landed back, and Conor McGregor tapped out. So a lot of people talk shit to Conor McGregor after that. That was his first fall. But after the fight, even in the press conference, he showed respect and he was super cool. So that's why I say he's not a sore loser and he's not an asshole.
Oh.
But what you're talking about is that he wanted a rematch. He wanted a rematch with Nate Diaz, the person who beat him in lightweight. And there's this big event called UFC 200 with a bunch of great fights on. And he wanted to be he was going to be part of that fight card, and he was going to, try to avenge his loss to Nate Diaz. The thing is, he wanted to train more. Philip DeFranco's right, because Conor McGregor sent a tweet where he wanted to train. Dana White, the president of UFC, actually said that. And Conor McGregor, I also said that he wanted to train more instead of doing all this press conference tours. Now, the reason they wanted to do press conference tours is because of his talent at talking shit and bringing, hype to the fight. The more shit he talks, the more Nate Diaz is a shit talker, and also is Conor McGregor. So the more shit talking that Conor does, the more Nate's going to respond back and forth, and it's going to build drama, and everybody's going to want to watch it again. But Conor McGregor didn't want to do that. He didn't want to go through all that press conference. He said it tired him, and he wanted to focus just on practicing and becoming a better fighter so he could win this fight. Because what happened last time, he wasn't eating healthy. He says that he wasn't eating healthy. Since it was a lightweight class above, he can eat more, he can take more food, and he would have dessert and 4 breakfasts a day is what he said. So he didn't measure his cardio well. Mm-hmm. So what happened is he wanted to go back in there, and Dana White said, Dana White kicked him out of the card because to Dana White it's the fighter's responsibility to do all that press conference and all that other stuff. Mm-hmm. Conor McGregor got kicked out of the card, UFC 200, and he wanted to go back in. Well,
is he still a part of the UFC in general, or?
Yeah, I believe he's still part of the UFC because
it was just that one specific event.
They didn't let him back in UFC 200, right?
Uh-huh.
And he decided that he was like, "Fuck it, I'm retiring. I'm out." The truth is, no. He was back. He didn't want to do all the press conferences or anything. So he wanted to be part of UFC 200 and have more time to train instead of having to do all the press conferences and all the interviews and being in all these MMA. Because MMA has had a spike in fans. There's a bunch of fans and there's a bunch of YouTube channels dedicated just to MMA news and MMA, media and MMA breakdown videos and all that other type of stuff. Uh-huh. So he would have to appear on a bunch of shows, and he would have to do a bunch of interviews, not only with the UFC, but with Fox and a bunch of different other outlets, and he would have to do the press conference tours as well. And he wanted more time to train. So people thought he retired, and the truth is, you don't know yet. He could retire still, but there's bigger news than that. Turns out that there's a rumor, which isn't that much of a rumor anymore, that Conor McGregor is going to box Floyd Mayweather.
Floyd Mayweather.
The guy who retired, who has, 48 wins and no losses in boxing. The thing is, Mayweather came out and he said that he started those rumors. He wants to get a boxing match against Conor McGregor. And that would get so much... Conor McGregor already has so much money, and that would make so much more money for him. He could literally fight Floyd for whatever money, which is going to be guaranteed a bunch of money, and just stop fighting in general. He'd be set for life. But it's about his pride.
Yeah, because I was going to say, he seems like the kind of person who's really passionate about fighting, though.
He seems very passionate about fighting, but the thing is, if he goes into the world of boxing, there is no such thing as, so boxing is better than MMA? No, it's either you box or you fight MMA in this case. Because here, Conor McGregor would be boxing Floyd Mayweather. So you can't say that boxing is better than MMA because you're both boxing. Right?
Right.
Because in order to say that one's better than the other, then you would probably have a bunch of fighters, a boxer, fight against a mixed martial arts fighter. And then out of all the fights, the fighters who have the most wins would probably gain a point to which fighting style is better. But here it's strictly boxing. And the thing is, if Conor McGregor fights Floyd Mayweather,
he's going to lose, though.
He's going to lose. And not only that, he's going to be humiliated. You're talking about pound for pound. What was the number one? Not anymore because he's retired. But if he comes back, Floyd, who all he's done all his life is train boxing, is gonna light up Conor McGregor, make him look like an idiot.
Because I was gonna say, like, that's a little like boxing. Now, if it was the other way around, say Mayweather.
Oh no! If it was the other way around, you're talking about someone who knows jiu-jitsu, probably practices wrestling, knows striking, knows maybe Muay Thai, and knows kickboxing. Those are 5 things against just boxing. He can take him down. He can hit him. He can hit him back fist. He can do a spinning back fist. He can hit him with elbows. He can do flying knees to his face. He can do so many things. Leg kicks to the legs. Conor McGregor would destroy Floyd Mayweather in an MMA fight, but Floyd Mayweather would destroy Conor McGregor in a boxing fight. But the thing is, what's going to happen? Will Conor McGregor take that fight? Because if he does, I believe that his fame isn't over. More people are going to want to watch. Wait, Conor McGregor, the guy who talks a bunch of shit? And Floyd Mayweather and Conor McGregor traded words, not really, but toward, I don't know, Instagram or Facebook. Floyd Mayweather said that Conor McGregor is only praised. Basically what Floyd Mayweather was saying was that, African or black, fighters don't get appreciated. And everybody's looking up to Conor McGregor because he's Irish or something. Yeah. And then Conor McGregor said what I believe is the truth. That when's the last time you saw a super famous Irish guy that was just super successful?
At all?
Yeah.
I mean, the only people I can think of is Sheamus from WWE and Jacksepticeye.
But I'm talking about super successful. Like everyone knows him. Not everyone knows Jack.
True. I mean, I guess maybe Sheamus. He is pretty decently successful in the WWE.
Here's the thing. I don't know who Sheamus is, but when I say Conor McGregor, you do know who he is.
Yeah, even I know who the fuck
Conor McGregor is.
I didn't watch UFC.
So there's only 2 other Irish people that you can name that are successful. So why would Floyd say that people like him just because of his race? And Conor McGregor said that his race has been suppressed and has been in the shadows for years, and now to not talk down on his people. So they had maybe a sort of
oh, okay. So
a sort of maybe mini beef or something. I don't even call it that. He Conor just responded to one of Floyd Mayweather's tweets. Well, now we don't know what's gonna happen. What are the choices for Conor McGregor? He can go and get lit up and get so much money, and I believe that if he gets lit up, he can go back to the UFC and people will still want to watch him fight.
True.
I still believe he can, but he's gonna get marked if he fights against Floyd Mayweather. If the ass beating is that bad, it might not happen. What if he goes in there and he's just bleeding and he's just getting hit back and forth, and they knock him out big time?
To be fair, this is the same guy who can handle beatings from other UFC fighters.
Oh yeah, he can handle beatings.
So it's hard to imagine, even if it is something that he's not very familiar with, just boxing, it would be hard to imagine that he will get his ass beat, but it's hard to imagine that it would be that bad.
That bad.
Because now see, if it was others, maybe not as talented, someone just starting off, maybe. But you gotta remember that the guy who just started off or just got in, he still also has only been training only boxing. But it could be a maybe. The new guy can still whoop his ass, or maybe Conor could try to do something, but it's only hands. He can't use feet or anything else what he's been training for. I think Muay Thai is a lot of hand movement though.
It is the type of striking.
So that could help him out.
He used to be a boxer.
He's just wearing boxing gloves. Yeah. So I don't know. It could be interesting to see how this plays out.
So we truly don't know if he's out of. He could retire today, tomorrow. We don't know. The answer is we don't know. He just didn't get on the fight card because he wanted to train more instead of doing press conference and still fight. But Dana White says that it's a fighter's responsibility to do all the interviews, to get on all the shows because everyone else does it. So we don't know. No one really has a negative action that they want to take part of. It's not like he wants to be lazy. He wants to train more, which is a good thing. But as long as there's other fighters that are also doing all the stuff, the interviews and everything, then it seems like he should do it too. So Dana White, the president, and him are both kind of right. There really is no wrongs here.
It's just 2 different perspectives. Plus, he's thinking about it as his passion of fighting.
Yeah.
And her as a company that she has to run. if you think about it that way.
Mhm.
And I guess that's a little bit too broad, or not broad enough is what I mean. Because to her, obviously, it's not just a company.
Uh-huh.
Because she obviously knows the fighters. She knows
Dana
what's
White?
going on. Yeah, Dana
Got it.
White. Really?
Yeah.
Oh shit! Never mind. Well, same thing. He knows all the fighters. He knows what's going on.
Mhm.
It's not like he's just trying to run a company.
He does have favorites. He does have this. I believe he does, because some fighters do get paid more than others, and they're new. But when it comes to this argument, this altercation, I think they're both right. One wants to train more, which there's nothing bad with that, and the other one wants him to do the press conference like everyone else. They're both right.
Okay, I guess it could go either way. It'd be interesting to see how it plays out.
Conor McGregor could still retire
We'll see.
if he wanted to. He's actually posting stuff on social media nowadays, but what I've seen, it's more like showing off his cars and everything. So we don't know if he'll take the Floyd Mayweather fight, because Floyd Mayweather, I heard, wants to be an MMA promoter.
Really?
Wants to start his own promotion for mixed martial arts.
Well, we'll see where it lets off.
Who
And
knows?
I figured it would be the best way for, like I said, I do not know anything about UFC fighters or UFC in general.
Mhm.
And so I figured this was the best way to explain things to what's going on with Conor McGregor out to the public. And I really hope you guys enjoyed this. Hopefully this got a lot of you like me who don't really know much about UFC or might even be getting into it, really understand what's going on with someone that you might be a fan of if you're just getting into it.
Mhm.
And for those of you who maybe just missed it because you're living under a rock.
And also, we don't like racists leaving comments, so
Yeah.
you can't say the N-word in the comments. Sorry, we don't like racists, and that's what you get.
Listen, don't be a bust-a-nut, alright?
Don't be a bust-a-nut. That's
Don't
gonna
bust a nut.
That's gonna become a shirt. Don't be a bust-a-nut, and the other one's gonna say, what was it, to empty out my nuts?
Emptying my nut.
Emptying my nuts out.
Well, we'll see you guys next time, and I really hope you enjoyed.
Keep it safe.
ButterNuts out.